Good afternoon, class. I know that we've been struggling with distributive property and sometimes we just happen to forget how to do it. And I know most of you do know how to do it, but sometimes you just need that little reminder. So let's just go ahead and see what it means. If you look at the left here, you know that a number outside of a parentheses represents multiplication. That's the operation we see here. So we see 2 times 5. And a lot of you guys like telling me, yes, Miss Lamro, I know what 2 times 5 is. 2 times 5 is 10. So if you know that, you're on your way to getting distributive property. So when you see that 2 plus times 5 is 10. So how do you know that 2 times 5 is 10? Did you just make that up? What did you do? Well, a lot of you are going to say, Miss Lamro, well, there's 2 groups of 5. So that means you're going to draw a 5 and a 5. And you'd add those up, and you'd end up with that 10 right there, right? Most of you would say that. Well, when we have distributive property, when we throw a variable in there, we do the same exact thing. We have the same logic. So let's take a look at the next one. You have distributive property here. And if you say that the first one was 2 groups of 5, well, this one would be 2 groups of x plus 5. So if I were to draw that out, I would draw an x plus 5. That's one group. And my second group would also be x plus 5. And you take a look at that, and then you look at your x variables. How many x values are there? Well, there's 2 x's, and you have 5 and 5, and you add that to equal 10. If you think about it, you're just multiplying because you have x 2 times, get it, times, right? You're multiplying, and you have 5 2 times. So if you have 5 2 times, you end up with 10. So it's all in the language and making sure that you understand exactly what you're doing. The only time you might get a little caught up, and I know there's a lot of minor mistakes, is when we have a negative outside the parentheses. And remember, when we have a negative outside the parentheses, we always take the opposite of everything in here. So I'm going to take care of those signs first. So I notice that that x is negative, so the opposite of a negative value will be a positive, and the opposite of a positive value will be a negative. So I know my answer is going to have a positive and a negative in there. So now as we look at this and we go back to our 2 groups of, and what we're going to change this to now is going to be positive x and negative 5. And I'm going to show this 2 times. So I'm going to have another positive x minus 5, and we're going to check that all together. So when you take a look at this, before that, I'm going to put my signs up here because we knew that they were going to be positive and negative. So how many x's are there? Well, we have 2 x's, and we have negative 5, which is negative 10. Notice that when we take care of the signs and just look at the opposite first, all you had to do was multiply those values. So we could have did x 2 times, which is 2x, and then 5 2 times would be 10. And that's all there is to distributive property. Good luck.